perfection.
What was perfect? Well, before you watch today's video, you have to go back and watch the previous video, which features the departure phase of my flight. It was a perfect departure off of runway 4 at LaGuardia. I flew on the Bronx climb, and my strategic seat selection on the left side of the plane paid off for a great Manhattan view. Today's video features the landing in West Palm Beach, and as always, it'll be quite comprehensive, so let's pick up where we left off. Before we get to Florida, here's some footage of the en route phase of flight. Down there in Wall Township, New Jersey is the Monmouth Executive Airport, and out there we can see the south tip of New Jersey. In Maryland, there was a nice view of Salisbury, and when the clouds came, I spotted a Spirit A320 from Atlantic City to Fort Lauderdale. Here's the contrail of a G6, which was right ahead and above my 737. At that point, the pilot made a welcome announcement.
I'd like to welcome you on board. A couple of reminders. I'm going to turn off the fasten seatbelt sign. I would like to remind you, please keep your seatbelt fastened while you're in your seat in case you encounter some sudden rough air. I would also like to remind you, please listen to the flight attendants. They are for your comfort, primarily your safety. We said an hour and 37 minutes remaining should be
Down there is a JetBlue A320 flying from Miami to Boston, and on the seat back you can see our departure route out of LaGuardia. Zooming past us down there is a Spirit A320 from Palm Beach to Atlantic City just before we flew over Washington, North Carolina. I can't wait to get to the landing.
But before we move on, it's time for a message from the sponsor of today's video.
With all the traveling I do, I find myself just sitting for hours on an airplane, and I need a way to make up for that, so I use my Yesol G1M Plus for a regular cardio workout. A breeze to put together, and at a great price point, this is the best stationary bike I've ever had. With so much time spent sitting, this is a great fit for my lifestyle, and using it doesn't take me away from what I need to do. It's all about fun cardio, as this bike features wired multimedia casting, making a typical cardio workout transformed into something enjoyable. I mean, who doesn't enjoy watching Peter Masella's YouTube channel while working out? I know I certainly watch my channel all the time, even when I'm not working out, because the screen rotates 360 degrees, so I can watch the screen when not sitting on the bike. I love having an additional screen in my home in a place where I normally would not have one. What a great feature! Working out and enjoyment go hand in hand with Yesol. As a traveler, I love this feature, which allows me to feel like I'm biking abroad. And when I want to take things very seriously, I just tune into instructor-led courses. I always leave it to the pros to tell me what to do. I'm an expert as an airline passenger, but I'm not an expert trainer. And statistics are always available to me. These are some fantastic metrics that provide me with the right information at the right time. And I'm not the only one who uses Yesol.
Hey, this is Peter Sr. here. I'm using Yesol on a regular basis, and let me tell you, it's working wonders for me as well.
That's right, my dad loves using this product. After all, he also sits on airplanes a lot and needs the cardio workout. I've caught him using my Yesol bike on multiple occasions. He's especially fond of the 4-speaker system and 2 subwoofers for exceptional sound quality. As a viewer of this channel, you can take advantage of my discount code in the description below. It's exceptionally affordable. Imagine watching Netflix or the news or airplane videos while biking or at any angle. What a deal this is. That's right, you heard it. You can get a great discount with my code. You just gotta do it. But for now, let's return to today's video. Okay, we're going to move forward with the approach and landing, which is what this video is all about. Remember that if you haven't watched this flight's departure, go back and watch the last video. It was stunning. Today, Delta 2396 is going to fly the CLMNT Two arrival procedure, which is designed for flights like this, coming in from the northeast over the Atlantic Ocean. I'll go over it as we descend and turn and weight radar vectors from approach control. We're now descending to PBI, so let's check in with Palm Beach Approach Control.
Palm Beach closed out 2396 out of 19.5 arrival. Delta 2396 Palm Beach approach altimeter 3023, stretch runway 10 left. 2033 10 left, 2396.
While descending, the pilot checked in on the CLMNT Two arrival. We're descending to 11,000 feet toward the fix Clement, which is off the coast of Stuart, Florida. Since much of this approach is over water, I'm going to move forward on a southwestern heading toward Juneau, a fix further down. Once you hear the next transmission from ATC, everything is going to be in real time. The next transmission will be a traffic advisory only, and any turns that you see is the aircraft following the arrival. Let's listen into the traffic advisory. I'll also be playing every transmission on this frequency, but we'll be talking over some of them if it's not for us.
Delta 2396 traffic, 10 o'clock, approaching 11 o'clock, 5 miles westbound, flat is at 3000. Lucky Delta 2396. JSP 95 traffic, 3 to 4 o'clock, 5 miles southwest bound, Boeing 737, 4000.
Looking for traffic at 295.
Based on that transmission to the Pilatus, we know that we're at 4,000 feet, and I didn't hear any transmissions that either plane had the other in sight. We're on course on a 224-degree heading following the arrival procedure. Passengers on the right side of the plane have had the shoreline in sight, but for us, it will be visible soon as we make landfall on this heading. Our nose is pointed towards Sands, a fix over the land that will cross at 4,000 feet at 210 knots. And despite being at 4,000 feet and under the control of a controller, once we reach Sands, we'll turn right to the west to a heading of 271 degrees. The CLMNT Two arrival procedure has different routes for planes to follow depending on the landing runway, and today we'll be landing on runway 10 left, which calls for the right turn to 270 degrees to put us on a downwind leg. I am all eyes out the window because under the wing we're starting to see the Florida coastline at the Atlantic Ocean. We'll be intercepting the shore on a diagonal and we'll proceed inland a bit before starting the downwind leg. What's coming into view right now is the John MacArthur Beach State Park, located in North Palm Beach, Florida on the Barrier Island. It's approximately 12 miles northeast of the West Palm Beach Airport. We'll briefly fly over the Barrier Island, then the Intracoastal Waterway, which runs up and down the coastline. Then we'll be over the mainland. This officially ends the water portion of our flight, as the rest of the flight will occur over the land. If you like large cities, this is the moment to take in all the buildings below because we're going to head out pretty far to the west before we can turn back around and land, despite the airport's close proximity to the water. If we were to land on the same runway in the opposite direction, most of the approach would be over the water with just a small portion over land, but the wind is calling for us to land toward the water rather than from the water this afternoon. We're over a fix called Juno, which is named for Juno Beach and the Juno Ridge communities below us. Sometimes the airspace fixes have names that don't make any sense, but this one clearly references what's below. After Juno comes Sands, and I'm not sure what that's a reference to. Sands is just 3 miles southwest of Juno, and there's no turn required after Juno to get to Sands. The 224 heading is just maintained. We're looking at North Palm Beach and Lake Park down there. Under the wing and by the water, we can see the island of Palm Beach itself, which is east of West Palm Beach. The island continues very far south, and the extended center line of the runway that we'll land on crosses right over it about 5 street blocks north of where Southern Boulevard meets A1A. We're now over Sands and starting the right turn to 271 degrees. Once leveled off, the nose of the plane will be pointed right to the next fix called Dillman, which is also to be crossed at 4,000 feet. If you know what Dillman references, let me know in the comment section below. I don't know. We can now see our destination airport, and I'm happy to be seated on the left side of the plane for this reason. Of course, I chose it for the great departure out of LaGuardia, but it's working out for this phase of flight as well. Now, of course, we're not the only ones coming into PBI, so we need to slow down to get in. The approach controller is now going to have us reduce our speed to 180 knots.
Delta flying 396, reduce speed 180.
So 180 Delta, so I do 96.
Let's listen into other transmissions on this frequency since we're not alone. And another runway at PBI is also being used for landing flights. The controller will tell November 1 Romeo X-ray to expect runway 14. Gulfstream 0 Charlie Mike, who's ahead of us, will descend to 2,000 feet, and jet speed 95 will be cleared for a visual approach to runway 14. There's a lot going on.
November 1 Romeo X-ray, expect runway 14.
And 111 Romeo X-ray, expect runway 14.
Gulfstream 0 Charlie Mike, descend and maintain 2,000.
2,000 0 Charlie Mike.
JSP 95, Palm Beach Airport is 10 o'clock and 2 miles.
In sight, it's speed 95.
JSP 95, clear visual approach 14 and 160 knots till 5 DME, County Tower, 119.1. Have a good one.
Cleared visual 14, 160 knots till 5 mile DME, over to tower, jet speed 95.
On the left side of the screen, we can see runway 14, which is the runway that jet speed 95 is heading to. We're going to runway 10 left, which intersects with runway 14, so the timing of arrivals to both runways needs to be precise. On top of that, the control tower is also using runway 10 left as a departure runway. We'll be following November 0 Charlie Mike, which is in front of us and is about to be issued a left turn for a base leg to runway 10 left.
November 0 Charlie Mike, come up heading 190.
1900 Charlie Mike.
Keep that heading in memory. That's the heading that we'll receive later on as we follow that airplane. It's 190 degrees and nearly due south, but we won't be following that plane very closely as the approach controller needs to separate arrivals to runway 10 left so that planes can take off between them and so that planes can use runway 14 for landing. As a matter of fact, there are even planes that will be using runway 14 for takeoff, so we're going to have to go pretty far out today. Another plane is about to join the mix well behind us.
Palm Beach approach today, big stretch, 880, CLMNT 2, we're just at a 12000 and we have golf.
Six stripe 880 Palm Beach approach, altimeter 3022, expect runway 10 left.
3022, 10 left, 6 stripe 880.
Now Charlie Mike is going to be told to slow down.
Crossing 0 Charlie Mike, ready speed 170.
Slow 170, Charlie Mike.
Here's a transmission to us.
Delta 2396, ready speed 170 to maintain 2000.
170 to 2000, Delta 2396.
We can only descend to 2,000 feet once we slow to 170 knots. Notice how the controller used the word then. We must accomplish our speed first. Pilots need to pay very close attention to the exact words of the controllers, all while flying the plane and configuring it for landing. Up ahead, 0 Charlie Mike is being issued a turn to 130 degrees to intercept the localizer to runway 10 left.
Crossing 0 Charlie Mike, turn up heading 130 on the sub-localizer.
130 on the localizer, Charlie Mike.
Remember that heading, 130. Once we get to where 0 Charlie Mike is, we should be given that heading too. And remember that 0 Charlie Mike was told to turn left first to 180 degrees. That's coming up for us soon as well. Remember that we just flew the CLMNT Two arrival, but there are no more waypoints to follow after doing. We just need to keep on flying this particular heading until we're told to turn. It's designed this way because only the controller can determine the right spot to turn based upon current traffic. Every plane will be told to turn in a different spot based upon separation standards, and it's about time for us to get our left-hand turn to the south to form a left base leg to runway 10 left. Once we make this turn, we're officially relying just on the controller for radar vectors to get to the final approach course.
Delta 2396, turn up heading 180.
Heading 180, Delta 2396.
Finally a turn. Up ahead, 0 Charlie Mike is cleared for the approach.
Crossing 0 Charlie Mike is 9 miles from Zayzer, 2000 to the localizer, cleared ILS 10 left.
2000 that was cleared ILS, 10 left, 0 Charlie Mike.
Look how different the terrain is from just a few minutes ago. We have moved significantly inland and are almost halfway to Lake Okeechobee. Even though the population down there is low, thousands of people pass over regularly, descending to 2,000 feet on this approach. As we continue, the controller works traffic to runway 14.
And 1 runway exit, the Pilatus is at your 1 to 2 o'clock and 4 miles out of 1,000.
And 111 runway X-ray, we have the Pilatus in sight.
Runway X-ray, follow him. Speed spread in runway 14, count star 119.1, you have a good one.
Hey, follow the Pilatus, 119.1, 111 runway X-ray, thank you.
We still have around 7 minutes before we land, and the 14 arrival traffic will not impact us. Yes, we had the airport in sight a while ago, but with the current winds, the only option was to come all the way out to where we are now to land. The time has come to turn left and get clear for the approach. We're 9 miles from a fix in the approach called Zayzer, which is 7.7 miles from touchdown, meaning we're 16.7 miles from landing.
Delta 2396, 9 miles from Zayzer, turn up heading 130, maintain 2000 to establish on localizer, clear ILS from 10 left approach.
130 heading, maintain 2000 and CSR step out, 10 left Delta 2396.
I'm going to point the camera up so we can see the airport before we head right toward it, and only the pilots will be able to see the airport in a few moments. The 130-degree heading is our intercept heading, and once we reach the straightened approach course, we'll be making another left-hand turn toward the runway in a straight line without the controller telling us to do so. Since the roads down there run north, south, and east-west, and the runway runs east-west, you can see that we're on a diagonal. Once we line up with the runway, we'll roughly be following the east-west direction of the east-west roads. Now a plane from the west is going to check in with the approach controller. It's headed towards a fix called Gullo, which is on the approach, and the controller is going to clear this flight for the approach right away, since it's mostly straight in for him.
Approach Alpha 620, 10.3, descending via the Voodoo 1 to intercept the localizer at Gullo.
Sir 620, roger, cross Gullo 5000, cleared ILS from 10 left approach.
Cross Gullo at 5, clear for the ILS, 10 left approach, Alpha 620.
That plane flew a completely different arrival procedure called the Voodoo 1 arrival, but they all lead to the same place. We're now approaching the localizer to the runway and are in a left-hand turn. Once the wings are level, the runway will be straight ahead. You may notice from time to time that the wings will be going up and down while on the straightened approach, but these are not turns, they're just some small bumps. There were quite a few bumps on this approach. Now that we're closer to the airport, it's time for the controller to hand us off to the controller at the tower at Palm Beach International Airport.
Delta 2396, contact tower 119.1, have a good one.
Oh, tower 191, Delta 2396.
We're still pretty far out. We're coming up on Seminole Pratt Whitney Road down there and have about 12 miles to go until touchdown. There were a few moments of radio silence, so now's a good time to invite you to become a subscriber of this channel. 72% of you are watching but are not subscribed. So if you don't want to miss out on some of the most unique perspectives of flying, that red subscribe button below is calling your name. Oh, and don't forget to support this channel on Patreon. Just like Patreon member Simon Weber, you can have your name announced right here on my YouTube channel. And finally, don't forget to check out the sponsor link in the description below. Those YesSoul bikes are amazing. In a few moments, we will check in with the tower on the ILS approach to runway 10 left. We'll call the tower at Zyzer, which is 7.7 miles from touchdown and to be crossed at 2,000 feet. From there, we can descend to 500 feet to the 3-mile mark to a fix called Paste. We will not get clearance to land right away. An executive jet will enter our runway for takeoff, and after that, remember that 0 Charlie Mike plane? Well, it will land, and a Bahamas airplane will take off on runway 14. We won't get landing clearance until the executive jet is issued takeoff clearance on our runway 10 left. By the time we land, both departing planes will be in the air. It's bumpy up here, and it wasn't easy to hold the camera still. We're now once again approaching the more dense area of Palm Beach. Our pilot is now ready to check in with the control tower, which is located near the airline terminal at the airport itself.
Tower Delta 2396, Zyzer 10 left.
Delta 2396, Palm Beach Tower, runway 10 left, continue.
10 left, continue, Delta 2396.
At Zyzer, we're just told to continue. As I mentioned, a few things need to happen ahead before we can land. There's a plane that was just put onto the runway that we're going to be landing on, so the runway is not yet ready to accept us, but we have plenty of time left to get there, and it will most certainly be clear by that point. The plane that landed ahead of us, 0 Charlie Mike, is going to be told to turn left on taxiway Charlie 6, which is just past the intersection with runway 14, so Bahamas Air, which is in position on runway 14, can get takeoff clearance.
0 Charlie Mike, turn left on Charlie 6, stay my frequency. Bahamas Air 282, runway 14, clear for takeoff.
Runway 14, clear for takeoff, Bahamas 282.
And 0 Charlie Mike, that traffic in front's going to hold free.
We're coming up on the Breakers West Country Club down there. It's within a 670-acre wildlife sanctuary and has 18 holes of golf. From the club to the airport, it's about 20 minutes. We'll be on the ground in 2 minutes. On the north side of the club is Okeechobee Boulevard, and we'll be paralleling it down to the airport. On the south side of the club is Belvedere Road, which we're also paralleling, and that will be in sight soon. The blue racetrack you see is part of the King's Academy, a preparatory school known for its academics, athletics, and arts. But one thing that the school does not mention is that it provides a great view of arrivals to runway 10 left at the Palm Beach International Airport. I'd use that as a selling point to get kids to go to the school. They'd get me. Or how about living in the various residential areas on the final approach course that we'll see all the way down to touchdown? Speaking of touchdown, we're getting lower and closer. The Bahamas airplane that was taking off on runway 14 has passed the intersection with our runway, making it clear for the plane waiting on it to take off right away so that we can land on runway 10 left. Here, the controller will tell Exec Jet 769 to take off, and we'll get landing clearance.
Exec Jet 769, runway 10 left, clear for immediate takeoff, traffic 2 mile file.
Clear for immediate takeoff, just Jet 769.
Delta 2396, runway 10 left, clear land.
10 left, clear land, Delta 2396.
Bahamas Air 282, continue runway heading, contact support.
Runway 282. And Delta 2396, go on ground.
Delta 2396, affirmative, contact ground.
Right.
I think the tower controller forgot to hand us over to the ground controller, so the pilot checked in for the handoff. As we check in with ground control, we get clearance to gate Charlie 2 by taxiways Charlie and Charlie 8.
Got Delta 2396, go at gate Charlie 2.
Delta 2396, Charlie 8 to the ramp.
Charlie 8 to ramp, Delta 2396.
And as you approach the gate, let me know if it's open for you or not.
It's open, Delta 2396.
Alright, that's good.
Welcome to PBI. I can feel the heat in the jet bridge here.
That's what I saw. Oh, I didn't know that. I saw that. I said, way to go.
This plane is headed right back to New York LaGuardia. What a great flight that was, from takeoff to touchdown. I absolutely loved it. Thank you so much for joining me on this flight today from LaGuardia to Palm Beach. Remember that if you're not a subscriber to my channel, I invite you to click on the subscribe button below, hit the bell button, hit the like button, and I'll be back with many more videos like this.